Coach Martin.
Yeah, I'll open with just a lot of respect for Brent, his staff, his team. Thought they played really physical. We thought they would, and they did. I thought they won a lot of scrimmage, especially in the first half, and their quarterback did a great job. So a lot of respect to our fans, our crowd. Had a huge difference in the game. Probably got us a few false starts there, which were really big for us. This was a really short week and a really tough game plan week because we knew their quarterback's capabilities, and he's been kind of sitting waiting in the weeds there for a couple weeks, and we knew that he was getting healthy. Obviously, he did a great job against NC State, but didn't play the whole game. And then tonight, he did play the whole game. He played really well and really physical. And this rivalry is good for our state, and that's what Britt and I both shared before the game and after the game. And no matter what anybody says, publicly, there's a mutual respect from me for the way, the physicality with which they play the game with, and the toughness. I thought our guys played really hard and physical. They had a good plan, and they shrunk the game on us. We didn't get great possessions in the first half. I don't know how many we had, but I feel like the first one was a waste with a drop. The last one was really short, where we had a long field goal because it was 2 minutes, and then there were maybe 3 drives in between that in which we did things well. We turned the ball over, and we didn't get a fourth and 1. And that's the biggest difference in the game. They cashed in on their drives, and we didn't. And in the second half, we got a little rhythm going and did some good things. Obviously, the overtime was epic. I guess eight overtimes, and I don't know. You might have to tell me how many conversions were made by either team. It seemed like maybe 2 or 3. The defense made a lot of stops, but what a great game. I was a part of that in the Auburn, I think, 96, where it was 5 or 6 overtimes, and it just seems like one play is going to make or break it. But our seniors, our team, our leadership, they don't flinch, and they find a way. 14 points down with, 5 minutes left, and Carson never blinked, and defense made a stop and got a turnover.
Kirby, what was the message to the team at halftime when you're down 17-0?
We had to get stops. We opened with the first possession of the game. First possession of the half, and felt like that was going to be really big for us, and we needed to get momentum. We had to get stops on defense, and we knew we wouldn't get many possessions because they were going to eat the clock and run the ball. And that was the biggest difference is can we make every possession count and just do your job? Because they really had not completely stopped our offense. So it's hard to play that team from behind because they don't give you the ball much.
Talking about seniors, Dan Jackson causes the fumble and gets the sack right there at the very end. You just talk about dirty Dan Jackson.
Man, to think that guy came to Georgia on his own without us even recruiting and to make the plays he's made, that hit fumble will be one for the ages because he wasn't just hitting a normal dude. That guy's a competitor. And a lot of respect for Dan. He didn't even have to come back this year. He debated whether he was going to play football again this year. Think about where we'd be without him. Just a lot of respect for him and his leadership, and really, all these kids that want to go and transfer and change and do all this. You look at a guy like Dan Jackson. He is what college football is all about, guys. He's not asking for more money. He's not trying to go somewhere else. The guy just loves Georgia.
When y'all prepare for games, do y'all ever go through 8 overtimes in that preparation?
No. We simulate about once every 3 weeks where we get into the 2-point contest, but we typically stop around 2 or 3 just because you don't, you carry 2-point plays, and we carry a lot of them, but I've never practiced that many. I think a couple weeks ago before we went and played Texas, we did an overtime simulation similar to that, and just so the kids know the rules. And we went 2-point back and forth, but I think we added about 8,000 yards just changing the field. I saw some of y'all huffing and puffing too. Trying to figure out why y'all were sprinting back and forth.
Did you know for sure that Dan had forced a fumble at the end? Because it was just sitting there. It didn't seem like anybody knew. It was just sitting there.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to review it and flip it until they showed it on the big deal up there. It would have been great if we had scooped and scored it and ran it in, but I didn't know it came out. I thought it was just stopped.
You talk a lot about your team not riding the wave of emotions. What did you see from the players as those overtimes were going? As you said, a bunch of them weren't converted, just how they kept reacting as that overtime went on.
I mean, it was weird. It seemed like every time somebody failed, they had to go again. I don't know why. It just seemed like we failed, we got to go again. So you had to get over that. And then they would fail, and they had to go again. It was the back-to-back. And it was almost like, I don't know, it was a battle of adversity, because the hardest thing to do is right after you fail on defense or offense, and you got to go right back out there and change ends. I mean, I just don't remember a game like that, out there.
Coach, you used one of your 2-point conversions in the third quarter on that first touchdown. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, interesting question. I'm not going to dig real deep in it. It's analytics, and we follow them almost to a T, and what our chart said. So it ended up looking really interesting because you could kick an extra point to win the game.
Kirby, Carson's play in the fourth quarter, after not getting much going early.
I thought he played good the whole game. I mean, he had a couple of pressures that they did a nice job disguising the pressure. We took a sack. They got a really nice pressure package. They do a good job with that. He had some drops again. He doesn't let that frustrate him or stop him. He just continues to make plays, and the 2-minute drive was really good. He fired a couple seam routes in, got the ball out to the tight end, made some plays with his legs. I mean, I have to watch the tape to really know how he played, but I know how he leads. I know how he competes.
You said that he wasn't frustrated with his drops, but there was moments where it looked like he was frustrated, and Tate went up to him and talked, and he said that it was okay for him to show that emotion and be frustrated. So how do you talk with him at any point to make sure that he's checked in and not letting that get to him, or?
No, Carson's fine. Carson's not a real emotional guy. I mean, I'm sure he got frustrated. We all get frustrated, but Carson composes himself and goes and plays the next play. That's all he can do. He's seen it all and been around it. It's not something that stresses me out.
And what else can be done, I guess, during practice to prevent these drops?
I don't know that we can do anything else on that. I think show confidence in our guys and keep going back to them, and that's what we're going to do.
Nate Frazier's freshman regular season ends with the 2-point try down there. Just think back to where he was at the beginning of the season. Where has he developed the most, and just what does it mean to see a freshman get a moment in a game like
Yeah,
this?
he's developed the most as pass pro. I thought he had a great pass pro pick up tonight. He understood they had a good blitz scheme. He knew he had to block. He's gained so much confidence because he's had to take so many reps. We were without 2 or 3 linemen during the week. We lost Monroe. He was not able to practice for a couple of days, and Dylan was out, and then they both came back barely for the game. Jared was hobbled. Truss was hobbling. We're like the walking wounded out there, still trying to get Ernest back. But Trevor's down. There's a lot of moving parts out there for those guys, and Nate has been the glue. He stepped up and played really big and runs really hard, and it makes you wonder if we gave him the ball earlier, we would have been out there as long. Y'all would have already been home, because he was going to score that ball if he got it. Now he hit the hole really hard.
You got another game now. So how will you handle the next week and tomorrow night in particular?
Rest. I mean, all we can do right now is rest. Our guys need a mental break. They need this day. I mean, tomorrow is one day, but it's a day that we don't know who we're going to play. They need recovery. This was a really short week, and it was a tough week. Remember, Tech played on Thursday night in this deal and called us on 2 days, and that always, you don't usually get that in our league, but you get that when you cross leagues and you move the game up. And a lot of respect for the way they played, the toughness they played with, and we got to turn around and play a stellar opponent, no matter who it is, next week, and it's going to be physical. And I told the guys in the locker room, you can rub your bruises and pout and do everything and say, I could have done better, but you better get ready to strap it on and play again.
Kirk, are you guys expecting to see Aaron Philo, and how did that throw things off that he didn't play?
No, they didn't throw it out at all. We expected to see Haynes King. We thought they might save his red shirt and not play him. What threw it off a little bit was Haynes King's ability to throw the ball, because everything we had been told is his injury prevented him from throwing it. And you look at the previous 2 games, and he really didn't. And there was points in time at NC State that it was tight ball games. They were going to throw it. You would throw it with the guy, right? Well, they trusted it with Philo. So that was, our expectation was they were going to throw with Philo, and they were going to do the other things. But Haynes came in. He threw the ball well, and really had some advantageous looks to throw it on, because we had everybody committed to the box. I mean, like, we played stuff that we ain't played since we played the old Georgia Tech. Like you had to play them different, and it was so different for our guys. And we played defenses we never played, and that made it hard. Like, you can't 3 and out. I mean, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. Those guys, and I mean, they do a great job. I mean, watching them play Miami, it was like, you know, Miami's got some really pretty players out there, and they ran the ball on them. They did it on us.
You guys have finished the regular season 10-2 record. Do you feel like you've done enough to merit inclusion in the college football playoff?
I don't get into that. I'm not biting on that. I'm worried about the SEC championship. That's for somebody else to decide. I'm proud of our guys, proud of the fight and the grit and the toughness, and that's really my focus. I mean, just keep getting better and don't ride the wave of emotion. Because if things went the other way on one of those plays tonight, we'd be playing next week for our lives to go in the playoff, right? So our opportunities in front of us, we got to go out and play well and play a good team.
Coach, you always talk about what you learned from your team each week. What did you learn from your team this week?
That no matter if you got the hardest schedule in the country, hardest schedule probably in the history of Georgia, you keep fighting. You keep fighting. And everybody, you know, wants a shot at you. Those guys played really hard tonight. They had a good game plan. They played well enough to win. I'm talking about Georgia Tech. But our guys found a way to win. And at the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
It was like that was one of the longest, like, post-game interactions that I've seen you ever do. Why did you think it was so important to talk with me? Can you share a little bit about what you guys discussed?
I just keep it between he and I. You know, we're both competitors. We have respect for each other. We played during the same era. We played against each other. We recruited against each other. We don't get to share thoughts and ideas and break and have bread and tea very often. So when we get a chance to talk and show respect to each other, I think being competitive is a hard game. And nobody knows what it's like to sit on that sideline and go through that pain and the highs, the lows. We're going to win, we're going to lose, we're going to win, we're going to lose. I mean, he was emotionally spent, and so was I. And we probably know what each other goes through for our fan bases better than anybody. Nobody else has been in those shoes, have had to deal with that and do that. And he's done a tremendous job turning that program around.
And Chauncey Bowens in the house, he did.
Chauncey got hurt in the last game. He's got a foot injury that he's trying to come back from. He got hurt in the UMass game.
Kirby, have you guys seen anything to decide to go with Frazier on the last one?
Well, I mean, as far as like to hand it off to him,
Not throwing it in.
well, it had an option to throw it on there. Carson made a good decision. And in most plays that we were running at the end, everybody does. It's kind of you don't want to run a 2-point play where there's only one option. You're trying to run things that give you multiple options. And they did, and we did. It was interesting because Buster, was calling their 2 points, and he was here so long, and we're talking to our offense back and forth about what do you think this is, what do you think he's going to run next. I mean, we have a lot of the same plays in 2-point situations, and so it was unique. And I was after the time we ran Carson, which was it was a little different call. We thought we'd catch them off balance with all the passes and get it, and we didn't. I thought it was a great call by Mike to go back to what he went to. As a defensive guy, we've been thinking there's no way you'd run it there, but people were getting worn down. People were getting tired. We weren't getting open. So that kid's got an electric ability. He hit the whole hard, and I guess we blocked it right because it looked like it hit up in there.
Kirby, what did you think of the 2-point shootout as a way to decide overtime, as opposed to playing it out the way it used to be?
Well, if they played it out like it used to be, we might still be out there. That's what changed it. And that was a long. I look at this play, 84 plays. We played 84 plays on our defense, and then our offense had 69, which that's partly our own fault. But when you go to overtime, man, it could be really. I was part of that game, and the reason they changed that was because of that. I mean, we got to play another game next week, so somebody's sitting out there like, keep playing, keep more snaps you play, the more. We're a beat-up football team, guys. We are beat up. We need to get well, and it's not going to happen this week. So we got to keep getting better.
That was out. One more question. What does it say about your defense specifically that with all the different calls and the success Tech was able to have early that they were still able to make those plays when they needed to in the fourth quarter and overtime?
It says they gave up 260 yards rushing. That's what it says. That's nothing to ever be proud of, okay? but they made some huge stops when they had to. And I don't know that we played poorly on defense tonight as much as Georgia Tech, and their quarterback really played well, okay? They are hard to stop. That's tough to stop. That quarterback is tough and does a great job. And when you add the throwing, we're giving them great looks to throw it. I mean, great looks. They're one-on-one all the time. You know, people don't play us that way because we don't have that style of quarterback. So give them a lot of credit and give our kids a lot of credit. And I can't say enough, guys, about this senior class. You can write anything you want about this game, but those seniors walk off that field undefeated at home and against Tech. That's hard to do. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.